Nurse Anna, and I'm back with another video finally. So, I think that we can all see that I am in the comfort of my own bed. I was going to find a nice professional place to record this and sit upright and all that great stuff. But these last couple weeks have been exhausting, so it is what it is. I'm sorry if it bothers you that I'm not in the most professional environment. Okay, so this also for all the people who are germ conscious. These have never experienced patient care before. These are fresh scrubs, so don't worry. I did not jump from the hospital into bed. Not what we do here. Okay, so I'm going to compound my first week of residency and my second week. If you watched my other videos, which if you didn't, you should go forth and do that now. But if you watch my other videos, then you already know that I experienced a setback. The state that I got my license in is not the state that I decided to work in, so I had to transfer it over, and when the transfer happened, it didn't happen in time for me to do the residency at the time I had originally planned. So I ended up being a tech for some time. If you're not familiar with a tech or a PCT is, that is basically a hospital CNA. You do a little bit more than what they train you to do in CNA school. You do EKGs, you can do IVs, you can do blood work. Depending on your hospital, you might even be doing a Foley or starting a Foley. So it just really depends on your hospital and what they train you for. So I was doing that for some period of time, and now I'm over that setback, and I'm now a full-fledged nursling. So the first week is orientation week. If you have already worked at a hospital, like let's say you're in nursing school now, but you're working as a tech already, you normally, or in my experience, if you already work as a one position in the hospital, when you transition to another, you don't go through the whole welcome to the hospital. This is what we expect you to look like. This is what we expect you to dress like. This is what we expect you to talk like. You don't go through that whole period again because you've already been there for however much time you've been there. So you skip those few days. My unit, they decided to just go ahead and let the people who had already been there start their preceptorship and start on the floor getting familiar with the nursing side of things. Also in the first week, you're going to start your classes. So in residency, and I can only speak from my program's point of view, every program is different, but from my perspective in my program,
And this video also, again, just to put that out there, will be from my perspective and my thoughts. So it's not the end all be all. Just gonna
okay. So the first week you'll be in classes. You normally don't start pay unless you have a situation like where you've been there and your unit manager decides, oh yeah, go ahead and start precepting because you've already been here. You're not going to be doing orientation and you're not going to be at home. So go ahead and get back up in here and do some work. So if you have that situation, you'll already be on the floor. But if not, you won't be on the floor yet. You'll go ahead and do your orientation classes and you'll start your actual residency classes. Those include some basically things that you would have learned in nursing school, but sometimes in deeper depths and sometimes not. It's just, sometimes you just gotta refresh. There are testing, at least for mine, there was testing that we had to do and testing that we were expected to pass. So it wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna see where you are and we're gonna let you take this test. It was more like, no, we're gonna see where you are and you need to pass this. So, and after we see where you are, you need to figure out your life so that you can be at a better place. Be in a better place. So, yes. Testing is not going away, guys. It's here to stay. The first week, I believe it was either the first week and a half or the first week we had it was the first week, a medical administration test. So comparing medications that we should know and also medications, how we give them in the hospital. We had a test on that. There were questions on it. That one was open book because how can you know the hospital policies on medical administration in the first week of working there? So that was open book, but then there was a separate section where you had to do med dose calculation. So everybody who was really hoping that it was just going to go away because everything is in technology now and computerized, it's not going away, guys. It's making a comeback. Because you got to think about it. If realistically, they do shut down systems in the hospital to update them for whatever reason or to do whatever they need to do with them. They shut down systems sometimes for a couple of hours or a day or so. Normally, at least while I've been working there, it's normally not more than one shift. Either way, though, that's your whole day. So you go back, in that time, you go back to paper charting, you go back to manually entering things. And if you don't know how to do any of that stuff, then you might have some problems, okay? Patients can't get any care if you don't know how to do things. So it made a comeback. We did the medical administration portion, which could not be open book because they didn't give you the formula. So if you need to brush up on that knowledge, you should go ahead and do that. And make sure you take some time to do that before you start your residency. My words. So yes, we also did some other classes like an EKG class, which was also going to be tested on, and you're expected to pass at a certain rate, like nursing school. So if you don't pass, you need to go forth and reevaluate your life and come back and do better next time. So it's not going away, guys. It's going to be here to stay. Testing is still here. Also, in the first week, we had some modules that we had to do, and I'm thinking, because I've been at this facility for a while, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be like the click-through modules where, oh, this is glucose, this is what we're expecting, this is how the monitor looks, normal administration things, whatever. So click, 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 okay, done, get my certificate. No, this was like NCLEX modules, like UWorld modules, like nursing school modules. So there was no click, click, clicking. It was all scenarios and what would you do, select all that apply. And the experienced educators were like, yeah, it took us 4 hours, so that's what y'all are getting paid for. And I got to the first one, I was caught off guard. So no lie, it did take me a lot more time than it should have taken. But I was not mentally and physically prepared. The last ones took less time because I realized the error of my ways and realized I needed to do more and be more mentally and physically prepared. So that's a heads up. It's a possibility because every program is different again, but it's a possibility that you might get some kind of electronic or computerized learning that you're expected to complete in a period of time. Also for my program, we didn't do it the first week. The second week we were expected to do, and because the second week is when we actually got on the floor. So in this video, I'm going to refer to the second week as the first week on the floor because that's when you actually start patient care and you start doing things. So the first week on the floor, at the end of it, we had to write a summary of what happened, things that we can do better, things that we didn't understand, things that we didn't do, things that we have goals to do better on. And you have to write the goal. Basically write the goal in the same way that you would write nursing school goals. Measurable, realistic, all that. So that took time. And speaking of that, I should probably be doing that for this week's. Glad that I thought about that. I should go ahead and work on that. But anyway, that's what you're going to be doing. So the first week of patient care, something I like about this program is that you don't just get thrown to the wolves. You're not starting with your whole five or four patient load. You start with one patient and you're not doing everything for the patient. You're just doing an assessment, the documentation on assessment, and then your med passes. For your med passes, you are expected to know why the person is getting the medication. And the first day, I'm going to say that you do need to know why, but the preceptor you're with may just explain it for you so that you can focus on using the pump and all of that stuff that you need to focus on for medication administration, on the technical stuff. But after that first day, into the second and third, you're expected to know why the person's getting this medication, to know the medication, be able to explain it to the patient, and really that's a really good way to prevent medical errors, because something that is taught in nursing school that is true to life: if the medication gets to the patient, you are the one who is in trouble. Yes, I'm sure on the medical side, they have their own counseling and preventative things that go on. But when the lawyer comes forth and the hospital, the leadership comes down, they're going to be like, so why didn't you notice that this medication wasn't supposed to be given to this patient? Just saying, why didn't you realize it was contraindicated? You should have known. And in a perfect world, if you are educating your patient on the medication, you and the patient should know that this medication doesn't make sense for them. Sometimes, of course, the patient is not going to know because they're here for being sick, and that means that there's going to be added things to their normal routine. But you as a nurse should be able to figure that out and cover yourself. So they teach you that in the first week on the floor. The documentation portion, I completely underestimated. When you're a tech, you just be click, click, click. Okay, I'm going home. Bye, guys. 7:30, I'm out. In the nursing realm, you click, 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 click. Oh, wait, no, that's the wrong click. Let me unclick that.
Click, click, click. Oh, wait, I need a whole new section on this. Click.
Click. And then after you finish all of that clicking, you need to go ahead and write a note. And it doesn't need to be the whole process of their lives. It just has to be something that was important to your shift and things that you did to fix whatever happened on your shift and how that turned out at the end. And that just takes a lot of time, and it's definitely underestimated. What will help you with your time with documentation, or at least what I find helped me, is just basically taking a mental note or taking a quick written note on what happened to the patient at the time it happened, because most of the time you're not going to be able to chart at the time it happened. They will tell you that in your classes, and they will tell you that in nursing school, that you need to just chart when it happens at the time. But realistically, the second that you sit down to chart, a doctor will be calling you, hey, we're going to go ahead and start this patient on a heparin drip, so I need you to do that right now. Hey, we're going to give this patient a unit of blood. Hey, you have a critical lab result, and you need to go give this patient potassium. As soon as you think about documenting, something will happen. So sometimes it doesn't happen like that, and things are smooth sailing. I know some nurses who they've been working for a while. They're always done with their documentation on time. There are rare situations where they're not, but they're able to chart not at the time it's done, but very close to that time, so they get things done. But in the beginning, I find that time management is a process, and it's something I'm learning. Yes, documentation. What else? Also the first week, if you get past that stuff, so once you build up to the third or fourth patient, at least for me, once I got to three and four patients, I think I'm at three now, three patients, there are other things that are expected of you. Like, you can also now call the doctor if you see a discrepancy, or call them if there's something missing. Like, if you notice, oh, the patient is, they're on all these blood thinners, but there's no PT-INR, so we should probably, hey doctor, can you put that in the order? Oh yeah, sure, I forgot that. Or they're not gonna say I forgot, but yeah, sure, I'll put that in. So they'll start expecting you to broaden your scope to getting closer to what you're supposed to do. My orientation is 10 weeks long, so things move pretty quickly, so that you can get to the point where you feel a little bit more comfortable. So some things that I would say that I would advise is, one, have a notebook, or at the beginning of your shift, get a blank sheet of paper so that you can write down the questions that you have, and also write down the answers to questions that your preceptor gives you, because sometimes you will ask them and they'll go ahead and be able to give it to you. Sometimes there are questions that you really can write down and figure out for yourself at home. Sometimes your preceptor won't know the exact answer, and you can go ahead and do that research on your own. So either way, it's good to have a notebook so you can write down these things, look upon them later. Also, I would say that don't be a background person. If you are uncomfortable with something, of course, take time to observe. But if you spend your whole orientation, or even the first couple of weeks, if you spend all that time being in the background, oh no, I'm not exactly 100% sure on how to insert a Foley, so I'm not going to do it now. So I'm not going to do it until until I feel comfortable. In reality, you are a beginner nurse, and I had to come to this realization myself, which is why I'm saying this. As a beginner nurse, there are going to be most of the things you're not going to feel fully comfortable with, because you're a beginner. You're in the novice period. I do not like the novice period, but it is a fact of life, and it's where I am right now. So everything will not feel comfortable, and the only way to get comfortable is to just do it. You just got to do it. If you're a background person and then you get to your 10-week, God forbid, and you're on your own, you're either going to be that kind of nurse who is not competent to do many things, and that will be a problem, or you're going to be the kind of nurse who's going to be asking other people to do your stuff all the time, which will also be a problem. So you just want to get in there. Of course, if you don't have the higher level, so I mean, of course you don't want to say, if your preceptor asks, hey, have you done IV insertion? Yeah, I'm just the best at that, and I'm great, I feel completely confident. You don't want to say that, because you'll get in there and you will show yourself up, and you play yourself. So don't play yourself. Be realistic. Yes, I've done this like once, and that's it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's give it a try now and do it, blah blah. So just be realistic with yourself, realistic with your preceptor, but also don't be so intimidated that you don't try anything or don't do anything, because while your preceptor is there, it's like a safety net. They can talk you through things, they can help you with it. This is the time that you want to just jump out there and have the leap of faith. Now, you don't want to go too far, but you want to definitely take the leap of faith, because you know that the safety net is there to help guide you back to the path that you need to be on. But if you wait to do that till you're at the end of whatever the period is for your orientation into your 1-year residency, or however long your residency is, then you have a greater risk of causing harm to your patients and to your career. And there's something else. Just as some, it's I'm finding that it's completely normal to feel like you are not as intelligent as you would like to believe that you are. I have definitely have several moments where I am overwhelmed, and then shortly after the feeling of being overwhelmed, I'm like, man, I am. This is just I'm just having a dumb moment right now, like a series of dumb moments. I should know all of this stuff, but in reality, you're not going to learn everything. I was sitting there talking to one of the nurses who's super experienced, and I was just like, I hope I just learn everything at the end of 10 weeks, because that's just how my mind works. I hope I just learn everything so I can be the best nurse and I be expert. And she's like, you won't. I was like, that is extremely encouraging. Thank you. And she's like, no, but realistically, 10 weeks is not enough to learn everything. And she was like, everybody is constantly learning things. You just need to learn the basics and learn how to be competent enough to, provide patient care. And then, you'll learn more things and you ask questions and you keep going. And I was like, that's really good. That's a really realistic expectation, because I'm finding that the reason that I have these moments where I'm like, man, I'm so dumb. This is just not how I envision my life, is because I'm envisioning something that is not realistic for the period of time that I'm in. Of course, you want to have goals for the place you want to go so that you can line yourself in that direction. But if your current goals are, I'm going to be an expert nurse and I'm just going to know everything by this period of time, even nurses who are at higher levels don't know everything. Even the expert nurses don't know everything. They're an expert at what they know, but you put that same nurse in a different unit or put them in a different, line of put med surg from med surg to ICU, they are going to have a learning curve as well, and have to be realistic. So I'm just saying that to say that there's going to be a learning curve. Overwhelming will happen. It's normal. That's what I'm learning. Feeling dumb is normal. But eventually, hopefully by the end of the 10 weeks, I'll have some sort of confidence level built, and I won't feel as confused as I do sometimes. So I hope this was helpful. I think I said it at the beginning, but I noticed there wasn't a lot of residency minded videos on YouTube, so I'm sorry this is so long, but I just hope you enjoyed, and get out there and enjoy your residency or enjoy nursing school. And yeah, have a great day, night, or whenever you're watching this. If you have questions that I did not cover, please feel free to comment below. Subscribe, rate, comment. I might have said that out of order, but yeah, great day, night, whenever you're watching.